My girlfriend told me about some mean pranks she did to a slower kid in high school. Is it a red flag even though it was a few years ago? I, 24M, have only known my current girlfriend, 22F, for about 3 months, but we've had great chemistry so far. A few days ago, we were talking about some stories from high school. She told me about a weird kid at her school that her friends used to mess with. She said she used to pretend to be interested in being his girlfriend and then would embarrass him by getting him to do something humiliating, or by showing their private texts to other people. Sometimes she and her friends would set up elaborate pranks on him. In the story she told me, she was on a date with him one night in a park. She told him she wanted him to take off his pants for her, and after he did, her friends came out of hiding, took his pants, and everyone drove away, leaving him to walk home in his underwear. She told me a few more stories like that, but you get the point. It made me sad because I got the impression the guy might have been a little mentally disabled or at least cognitively slower. She said that after everything they did, he still wouldn't understand that she was in on all the pranks with her friends. She would either pretend she had nothing to do with it or make up some excuse, and the kid kept falling for it. She thought it was hilarious. She could barely contain her laughter while telling me these stories. It's been a few days, and it's still bothering me, so I figured I'd ask for some advice. I feel like I might be overreacting, but it's just a strange feeling because she seemed incredibly sweet up until this point. After hearing this story, and noticing her complete lack of remorse, it's been hard to look at her the same way. I know I'm not perfect by any means, and I feel like a jerk for judging someone over something that happened in high school, but it really bothered me. Thanks for any advice. Final update. Hey everyone, first I wanted to thank you all for the advice you gave me originally. I asked the question thinking I was overreacting, but after reading some of your responses, especially from those who had traumatic experiences themselves, it really knocked some sense into me. I appreciate that. That being said, this was still pretty hard for me, even though we've only been together for 3 months. I know that sounds silly, but it's true. I decided to take your advice and talk to her before ending things. People wanted to know how it went, so here's a brief rundown. Last night, we hung out for a couple of hours, and honestly, we had a great time. It was hard to even bring this up at the end of the night. I wanted to just move on and ignore the red flag, but I knew I couldn't. I brought up the kid she told me about again, very casually, not like I was going to lecture her, so her guard was still down. She started laughing just at the mention of him. She casually told me another story about how her friends messed with him. I asked her why they liked to mess with him so much. She paused for a second, then giggled and said, "I don't know, he was just a douchebag." I asked, "Why was he a douchebag? Did he do something to you to make you mad at him?" She said, "Not really. He was just so stupid and naive, it was annoying." There was a pause because I didn't know how to respond to that. Then she continued and said, her exact words, "He had no purpose. He was just there to make people laugh." That really made me sad. I wanted there to be some explanation that made the situation less cruel, but there wasn't. I got kind of angry and told her that everything she had described was absolutely horrific. I said she should think about how she'd feel if someone did those things to her. I told her that to torture an innocent person just for entertainment is an inhuman thing to do, and the fact that she still has that same mindset today shows how immature she still is. I'm normally not that harsh, but it just came out. While I was talking, she gave me a look of total disbelief, like she thought I was joking or had lost my mind. I told her I couldn't continue a relationship with someone like that, even though we'd had such a great connection up to this point. I actually had to convince her I was serious. She thought the real reason I wanted to break up was some minor issue from a few weeks ago. She just couldn't believe that I was ending the relationship because of this. Once she realized I was serious, she got extremely angry. She said I was just getting off on shaming her because I wanted to abuse her emotionally, and that I had no right to talk to her like that. She called me all kinds of names, said she never liked me anyway, and that I was a loser, and so on. Other than that, we parted ways smoothly. I got some angry texts this morning, which I'm saving just in case. So that's it. Honestly, I feel better already because I know this was for the best, especially after seeing how she reacted. Thanks again, everyone.